There is a mass exodus occurring right now as we speak. And it's not a mass exodus of people. This is a mass exodus of the minds. Because here's what's happening. Modern society is set up in a way that it wants you to hustle. It wants you to work hard. It's what everything's all about. But if you're anything like me, you get home from a long, hard day's work, or at the end of your week, and the only thing you want to do is sit down and relax. Turn your mind off for a while. Find some sort of peace and just tune everything out. Tune out all the noise. But the problem is that when we do that, most of us turn to some form of digital entertainment, something online, maybe streaming. And the problem with that is that 99.9% of the stuff that we see online or that we see on streaming has some sort of agenda. There's a motive lurking in the background, and that motive is 100% designed and engineered to extract something from us. And that something is most of the time the things that are actually important. Our time, our energy, our focus, our attention, our spirit. Just think about the stuff that you watch. Think about the stuff that you partake in modern society, and you're going to see this. There is a pattern there, 100%. And when you start to recognize that pattern, you start to recognize that this stuff is really blatantly obvious. As a matter of fact, it's in our faces. They're making it so apparent that it's impossible to ignore. As a matter of fact, they're not even hiding it anymore. And the beautiful thing about this, and this is where I think there's a silver lining, is that stuff has gotten so crazy today. It's gotten so disgusting. It's gotten so infuriating that most people are starting to take notice. And when people take notice, they're starting to realize that they have two choices. They can continue to take part in modern society and allow all these things to extract from us until there's basically nothing left, or they can choose to break free from that. It's almost like the movie The Matrix. You got the red pill and you got the blue pill. But if you take the blue pill, you are basically acknowledging the fact that all this stuff is 100% going on around us. The world is run by psychopaths, and it is designed to extract from you. And you're choosing to stay in that system and take part in that. Or you can take the red pill. And the red pill means that you break free and you find another way. Because the way that you're currently walking, the path that you're currently on, is not working. And because the decision is so, I would say, almost obvious, and everything's so out there and in the open, and it is in our faces, there are more and more people that are choosing that red pill. And I'm sure there are other pills in between that people are choosing, but I think these are the two main choices that people have. And the fact that all these people are choosing to break free from this crazy, demented, sick society, I think is an amazing thing. I think that is a silver lining, because when people break free from that and they choose the red pill, they're choosing to focus on the things in life that are actually important. They're choosing to get back to the basics. They're choosing to dig up that person that they buried and rediscover themselves. But when you choose that second option, that red pill, you are choosing to simply just find a way that aligns with you, who you are as a person. And the beautiful thing about this is that once the noise has become so loud that it's impossible to ignore, and you choose to break free from that, you choose to drown out the noise and walk away from it, and you have experienced the peace and the silence, there is literally no going back. Because once you experience that and you see what you've been missing out on, you wonder how you were ever walking that other path. And choosing your own path and going against the grain, it can be kind of tough. Because when you do that, you suddenly stop relating to the rest of the world. But the important distinction here is that you're not relating to the rest of the world per se. You're not relating to the rest of the modern world. However, what you are now relating with is that new version of yourself. You're now relating with a world that is more aligned with you. It's a world that's been there all along. It's been right under our noses, but we were just too distracted, too exhausted to see it. And make no mistake, that is all by design. They don't want you to see this. They don't want you to rediscover yourself and find a way that aligns with you. They want you to walk the path that aligns with society, that aligns with what we're told. But when you dig up that person that you buried and you rediscover yourself, you start to live your life in a way that I would say is more meaningful. You start to become more grounded, more calm, more at peace. You start to live in harmony with the world around you. And not just the good parts, but the good and the bad. Because you start to accept things for what they are. And what they are is the fact that, yes, there's good and there's bad, there's light and there's darkness, but there always has to be a balance. That is going to be a constant throughout life, and you're okay with that. That's the person that you start to align with. So you can see that not aligning with the modern world is not a bad thing. It's actually a silver lining. And I would say it's actually an important part of this awakening. And unless you're tuned into this kind of stuff, you probably wouldn't even notice that this mass exodus is happening. And that is because all of the noise and all the stuff that we're surrounded with, it is very loud. And people aren't really talking about this. They're not showcasing the fact that they're walking away and they're finding another way. And the reason for that is because when you disconnect from that old version of yourself, or the current version of yourself, you're also disconnecting with the version of yourself that would have you going out craving validation. The one that has you going online, putting yourself out there, showcasing what you're doing. Most people, when they choose this alternate path and they choose to go against the grain, they're also choosing to build in silence. Because another thing that's very important to understand about all this is that because things are so loud and things are becoming so overwhelming, people are kind of being forced into this. And when you're forced into this, you're also forced into taking action. And that's what people are doing. And instead of talking about it and sitting on their hands and just wishing their life would change, people are actually taking action and they're doing the thing. They're seeing that the current path that they're walking isn't working, and they are getting up off their butt and they're walking a different path. And when you do this and you make that choice to become a man of action or a person of action, you are making yourself stronger. You're becoming a person that does not waver, that does not falter, and that can deal with virtually anything. You start to realize that when you're faced with adversity and challenges pop up throughout your life, they simply don't affect you in the same way that they used to. And that is because when you free yourself of all the distractions and all the noise, your mind can think clearly. And your true self is now being rebuilt. And once that person is fully rebuilt and fully established, you begin to realize that that warrior, that strong, unwavering person, they were always there. You were just too depleted and too distracted to dig down deep enough to find them. So the next time that you sit down from a long, hard day's work and you feel yourself becoming overwhelmed and the stresses and the anxieties of the modern world start to creep up on you, always remember that we all have a choice, and it's never too late to make it. It is never too late to join this silent revolution, this mass exodus of the minds, and to break free from this crazy world that we're all trapped in and to find another way. It's never too late to disconnect from all the madness and plug into something that is much more simple and much more peaceful. And at this point in my life, I am convinced that this silent revolution, this mass exodus of the minds, this is the future. So the only thing you have to ask yourself now is, which side of it are you going to be on?